They brought glory one more time to this country. But let's now look at the headlines, and I'll start with you, Mheshimiwa. MPs limited options to in a bid to stop Uhuru's taxes. First of all, your thoughts on the taxes, Mheshimiwa.
To be honest with you, I want to say two things. Number one, with all due respect, I would like the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, to know that members of parliament are determined, and we are not going to allow him to bring in this VAT thing, whether it is going to be 8%, 3% or 1%. The reason for that is, and I speak because I've been in the budget committee for the last 15 years now. If you look at some of the items which have been allocated money, and if you look at the amount of money that we are able to raise as a country, and you look at where we are spending that money, it is actually absurd. Number one, a lot of this money is being pilfered and misused and abused. And number two, we do believe that some of the items, when we hold sectoral meetings, before we hold the PBS, hold meetings and discuss what the budget policy statements issues are, before we discuss the ceilings on how much money we are going to spend for that given financial year. We hold in-house meetings, we discuss this. And anytime you bring these issues and say, look, why are we, for example, if you look at I was explaining to my brother, Ambrose Wera, this morning, imagine we allocate 5 billion for training people in ICT. And if you look at the write-up on how that money has been allocated, and I hope you'll allow me to go through some of them.
Yes, quickly, because we'll still come back to this. But
yes,
carry on.
It is incredible. You look at some of the items, I'll give you one. You have, for example, one of the items, the provision of LPG gas cylinders, 1.5 billion. Allocation of the money for milk, all right? You have capacity building of digital literacy program, 5.5 billion. Construction of Konza complex, we have no problem with that. Then provision of processing of powdered milk, 500 million.
And one, of course, wonders who that powdered milk is for.
Going to be given
but
to.
Let me ask you this, Mheshimiwa, yes, because as we still go through that, is that budget passed through your parliament?
That is true.
So really, it is a budget that you had already seen. It is one that you approved. It is one that you gave your thumbs up, and it was given the thumbs up with the 16% VAT included to raise the 70 billion.
That is true. What we are saying is that there are certain items which must be cut now. I'll answer you first. Yes, the budget passed through Parliament. The truth is, hardly do we have members of Parliament taking the whole of the budgetary estimates and running through it item by item. In fact, our evaluation and analysis of the itemization which has taken place and where the money is going to be spent, these are items which we then started looking at, saying we believe the President has the capacity of actually even coming back to the House and asking us, what do you want us to cut? And all we are saying is he wanted 70 billion. He's now saying he wants to VAT of 8%. But we are saying we have got some items here which he can cut, and we give him 50.
And we still managed to go through with the rest of the budget.
And we still managed to go through. But another thing that members of Parliament are saying, which is very clear, leave the money for the women members of Parliament alone. Don't touch CDF, because CDF is a fund which exists in law.
And it's a development fund.
And what we are saying is, CDF, even with its own challenges, has actually been a fund that has delivered. If you look at the county government money and you look at the CDF funds and you look at all the devolved funds, CDF has not been a total failure. Why is it that every time that the President or anybody else has an issue, every time people are rushing to CDF, members of Parliament, whether they are in Jubilee, whether they are in ODM, whether they are in all these other parties where they are, now we are going to become bipartisan. And we have said, we are going to tell the President where he can get the money. We are ready to tell him that certain items on the budget don't need to exist.
They don't need to be there.
Yes.
Okay, I'll come back to you on that, because one of the accusations that was coming from the executive is that, yes, members of parliament are saying that 16% must not be put on the fuel, but you're not giving solutions. You're not giving proposals. So I'll come back to you on that. But
Yes.
Ambrose Weda,
Yes.
your thoughts on the options that members of parliament have given where we are now, and the fact that the president did not fully reject the 16%, but he gave proposals of having now 8%.
Thank you so much. I really don't think that the MPs have run out of options, unless they cage themselves in political parties or fear of the president or blah, blah, blah. The law allows them to marshal themselves in numbers, and then they tell you, Excellency, if